Good evening. Welcome to the May 2nd, 2017 Dayton City Council meeting. Donna, roll call.
Mayor Bresky.
Here.
Member Holder.
Here.
Member Burns.
Here.
Member Neary.
Here.
Member Baker.
Here.
Member Haas.
Here.
Member Lynn.
Here.
City Administrator Gibbon.
Here.
City Attorney Eck.
Here.
All rise for prayer and pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll start out with Jill. Is it Marines?
Correct.
Or Catalytic Fund?
Hi, I'm Jill Lorenz with the Catalytic Fund. I wanted to tell everybody, although probably a lot of you have heard about it already, the Nano Grant program that we did, well, Skyward last year when I was with Skyward, now I took it with me when I went to the Catalytic Fund, partners with the Center for Great Neighborhoods to do these, we're calling them the MyNKY Vibrancy Grants, and they're nano grants. They're $250 each, and they're meant to encourage community engagement. So they're open to any resident, student, or employee that works in Dayton. And the application periods, applications are online at mynkywvibrancygrants.org. And we're going to award 3. We're doing, so last year it was a pilot program and we did it in 3 communities, and Dayton was one of them. And this year we're scaling up to 6 communities, the original 3, and then 3 additional ones. So we're just really happy we got some great projects out of it last year, and we're really excited to see what Dayton can come up with this year.
Thank you, Jill.
Yeah.
Any questions?
How many grants will be awarded to date?
3.
3.
Yeah,
3
last year it was
250.
5 in 3 different communities, and now it's 3 in 6.
And 250, $250 maximum.
each, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for your continued support today.
Thanks. Yeah, we're super excited to still be here. Thank you.
We're waiting. Thanks.
I'm going to be these with Bob.
Next on the agenda, anyone in the audience? Anyone in the audience who'd like to address council can step up to the podium, give their name and address, and then address council. Tammy?
Tammy Cornett, 225 3rd. I just wanted to let everyone on council know that the Easter egg hunt event was very successful. I don't have a number on how many kids were there, but we had a pretty good crowd, and they probably, it was like a 2-hour event, so it went really, really well. Music Fest is June the 17th this year, and I will be emailing all of you to see who's going to bartend when and what time and how long.
So not a question of if, but when. You're not asking if, but when.
When, yes.
Good to ask.
We do have 10 bands, and so far I have 2 food trucks and 2 food vendors, and we have about 27 requests for craft food, for booths of some sort, crafts, some of the stuff that for businesses to pass out things. So I don't have a final number, but I have 27 requests sitting on the board right now. Any other questions about it?
Thank you.
I'm just glad you don't have the kite festival this week. We'd be losing some kids with the winds.
Anyone else would like to address council at this time? All right, moving on. Need the approval of the minutes from the April 4th, 2017 council meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Danny,
I'll second. I'm not voting.
second by Joe.
I understand.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. First, these are all first readings. First reading, 2017, number 7, franchise with Duke Energy.
City of Dayton, Kentucky, ordinance number 2017, number 7. An ordinance of the City of Dayton in Campbell County, Kentucky, establishing a non-exclusive franchise for the use of the public streets, alleys, and other public grounds of the city for the transmission and distribution of either or both natural gas and electricity through and for consumption within the city, and providing the terms thereof. This ordinance established a non-exclusive franchise for the use of the public streets, alleys, and other public grounds for the city for the transmission and distribution of either or both natural gas and electricity through and for consumption within the city, and provides the terms thereof. Fines, penalties, forfeitures, taxes, or fees. A franchise fee is imposed in section 3.10.8, which is as follows. 3.10, franchisee obligations during the effective period. While this franchise is effective, the franchisee shall 3.108 franchise fee. Paid to the city within 30 days after the end of each calendar quarter, a franchise fee equal to 3% of the gross receipts of the franchisee from the sale of electricity and natural gas for consumption within the city during the previous calendar quarter, along with a certification signed by an officer of the franchisee or a certified public accountant employed by or on behalf of the franchisee indicating the quarter's gross receipts, payment, calculations, and any necessary gross ups for collection by the franchisee. The franchise fee required herein is not a substitute or in lieu of any other tax, fees, imposition, or charges which the franchisee would otherwise be responsible and liable. The franchise fee required hereby is in consideration of the use of the public streets, alleys, and other public grounds within the city by the franchisee pursuant to the provisions of the franchise hereby established. Since such use is a valuable right and property, the acquisition and maintenance of which is very expensive to the city, and without such use, the franchisee would be required to acquire easements in private property for the transmission and distribution of either of both electricity and natural gas is considered expense to the franchisee. That's first reading.
Thank you. First reading of 2017, number 8, supplements to the Code of Ordinances.
City of Dayton, Kentucky, 2017, number 8, an ordinance adopting and enacting supplements to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Dayton, Kentucky. This ordinance adopts and enacts a supplement to the City of Dayton Code of Ordinances as published by American Legal Publishing Corporation of Cincinnati, Ohio. This adoption adopts and codifies the ordinance from 2016, and that's also second reading, or first reading.
Next one is 2017 number 9, amending the 2016-17 budget.
City of Dayton, Kentucky, 2017, number 9. An ordinance amending the City of Dayton, Kentucky's annual budget for fiscal year July 1st, 2016 through June 30th, 2017, and estimating revenues, resources, and appropriating funds for the operation of city government. This ordinance amends the budget for fiscal year 2017 for the Municipal Road Aid and Park Fund. The Municipal Road Aid Fund revenues and expenses are decreased by $500,000. The Park Fund appropriations for the utilities and operations are increased from $12,400 to $61,645, and appropriations for miscellaneous are increased from $1,500 to $5,000, thereby changing the estimated fund balance at the end of the fiscal year for the Park Fund from $103,648 to $50,903. And it's just first reading.
Are we allowed to ask questions on this, sir? On a first reading?
You could.
I don't think that this is like this thing.
I got a couple of concerns here. In fact, Representative King today published an article about the state budget, that they're already doing cutbacks because of the shortfall. Okay, I'm seeing $500,000 moved, taken out of the Municipal Road Aid Fund. Can you explain why?
Yeah, originally Dennis Keene had worked with myself on needs that he asked us for the need for road aid funds. So we put together a list, and that was our ask amount.
Right.
He at the time said that we would be in line to get that. So when we put together last year's budget, we were hoping we were going to get that. We were counting on getting it. When things changed at the state level, we're no longer going to get it. So we just wanted to clean that. That $500,000. Last June, we thought we were getting. Now we're not going to get it. So we just wanted to clean it up because it's not coming in. It was going to be used for similar to what he'd given us in the past, $150,000 a year, $125,000 a year. We were going to put it towards road maintenance, curbs, anything municipal aid money that's not coming.
So that $500,000 in Kentucky state funds for road aid is now pulled from, we don't get it this year.
Well, no, this is separate from municipal aid. This was just a bonus. He said, do you have any road projects? I can get you some extra money. We said, absolutely. Here's a list of roads that could use some work. Here's how much we think it would cost. In the past, that money had come in.
Right.
This time, he said, yeah, we can get it for you, but then when after the election, things change, it's not coming in anymore. So,
No, because you have it under municipal road aid as a minus 500,000, that's why I referred to it as such. And I don't want to get into the same situation as happened in some neighboring communities where they didn't spend it quick enough before it was taken
no,
away.
we never got it. It was something that said, yeah, we can get that for you, so we budgeted for it, and it's not coming in, so we want to clean it up.
We got it, we spent it.
Yeah.
The other question I have is on the park fund readjustment of roughly $55,000 being moved from the park fund to the general fund. Can you explain, Mr. Mayor or Mr. Giffen, why that is being done?
No, I think you're mistaken. It's being moved from the general fund.
There's funds now that the park tax goes into the general fund and then comes out and goes to the park.
Right.
That's,
$65,000 a year, roughly.
is that what you're referring, or?
That's what's in the budget, yes, sir.
That's just.
No, 100,000 goes into the park tax fund, and then they repay public works 65,000. So a 35,000 a year is what the park board gets.
I thought it was a 50-50 split by,
All those, never been 50-50 split. They get 35,000 a year.
okay, so there has been no funding moved from the park board fund to the general fund, correct?
Well, yeah,
65,000.
the 65,000.
That is the 65 that you're
Yeah,
referring
they
to,
pay-
and that's to maintain the flood wall, et
Right.
cetera.
All the parks and, yeah.
I just wanted to clarify that, thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is first reading of 2017, number 10, parking enforcement.
City of Dayton, Kentucky, ordinance number 2017, number 10. An ordinance repealing and replacing sections in the Code of Ordinances to outline enforcement procedures, impoundment procedures, enactment of the Kentucky Parking Citation, and act and penalties for violations of parking regulations. This ordinance repeals and replaces sections 72.25, 72.26, and 75.99 of the City of Dayton Code of Ordinance. The replacement sections regulate the enforcement and impoundment process in compliance with the Kentucky Parking Citation Act, adopts the Kentucky Parking Citation Acts, and provides for the following penalties for violation of city parking regulations and parking schedules as follows. 72.99 penalty. A, the owner of any motor vehicle or other mobile unit who violates 72.04A8 shall be subject to a civil fine with a civil offense with a civil fine of $25. Unless paid or appealed within 7 days, said fine shall increase to $50. B, the owner of any motor vehicle or mobile unit who violates 72.06 shall be subject to a civil offense with a civil fine of $10. Unless paid or appealed within 7 days, and said fine shall be increased to $15. C, the owner of any motor vehicle or other mobile unit who violates any provision of this chapter or chapter 75 shall be subject to a civil offense with a civil fine of $20, unless paid or appealed within 7 days, and fine shall be increased to $40. That's the first reading.
All right.
What are these fine levels currently?
Same.
The same, there's no change.
No, not any change in the actual number, it's just the language that we need to make sure they can call a civil offense with a civil fine.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, that's all I got, city administrator report.
Two quick things, Mayor and Council. There is going to be a Board of Adjustments meeting at 7 o'clock on May 17th. We're also going to have immediately following that a special planning and zoning meeting at 7:30-ish. The Board of Adjustments meeting has an application for tattoo studio in the Central Business District, which is based off of a recently passed legislation allowing tattoo studios in the Central Business District. All those requests go through the Board of Adjustments, so they'll hear that application. Planning and zoning is meeting to discuss the text amendments to the R1JJ zone, a similar topic that we've discussed in the past, opening up more permitted uses for our commercial buildings that are stuck in these R1JJ zones that have limited commercial use. So if you have any interest, council and the audience, in going to those back-to-back meetings, fun eventful night, May 17th. And then the last thing I have, just real quick, as you all been notified by me, and we're starting to get the information out onto the website, SD1 has unveiled a new program to help aid, cover some costs for sewer backups and backup valves and sump pumps. We're starting to release that information that's coming into us from them. We're posting it on the website. We're having a special meeting on Thursday, which I will attend. And at that point, we'll continue to get that information to you all and on our websites and out to the public so that you all can see the details of the plan. I've just seen the rough draft, and I'm sure that some of the basic info with you all. So a little bit of light for some people that have had recurring flooding issues. So be looking for that on our website in future meetings. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Mayor, can I suggest to Michael, I noticed you just said you were going to put it on our website, but is there a possibility after you attend this meeting and get the information from SD1 that you could post it in our community newspaper?
Yeah, I sent, that's a good point, Bill. I sent Mike Lynn's something already.
Okay.
I think I sent him that press release that came this week or late last week. And then, yeah, we get the draft, a couple pages long, so I don't know if he just wants to do a quick word.
Yeah.
Mr. Gibbons.
Thank you.
April 21st, you sent council an email on municipal road aid with the update about canceling the meeting prior to this one this evening. This gets back to my original question about the 500,000. So the only thing that we're going to be paving is the parking lot down by the park here
For the spring.
for the spring.
Yeah, we'll come back in June or July with a fall paving list that we'd like to probably start August-ish.
We're going to have input on that paving list for fall?
Yeah, I've taken all your all's comments. I know that you all threw out several. I've got a running list of comments. We do have a project that I'm working with SD1 with. In fact, we're going to submit the formal paperwork this month. It's an area of town that has recurring flooding issues that are solvable with some help with SD1. So we're going to apply for the 50/50 program. So we'll have to kind of weigh over the next couple months what we estimate those costs to be, and then we can come back and figure out which items on our wish list we're going to be able to afford this fall. So,
Okay.
yeah, we'll come back. We'll do a public hearing again in probably July or August. So we'll have time.
Michael, in the years past, before we've resurfaced the roadway, we've also contacted SD1 and the Water Department and Duke Energy, and they've been gracious enough to let us know if they're going to do any work there. I hope we still continue to do that because we put all this money out to resurface the road, and 2 months down the road they come in and tear it up. Now, if there's a water leak, I can understand it, but you know, we got to be up with these utility companies.
We do. We send them our lists,
Very good.
and vice versa. They send us ours. That way we can. Sometimes we can fast track projects, but they fast track projects based on our priorities.
All right, moving on. City Attorney's report.
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Department heads, Donna.
The only thing I have is everybody has a copy of the financials for the month. And then I also, if anybody will turn in the book that hasn't already, their code for instance, I'll get that updated for
But do you know when Memorial Day break's going to be?
Yes, it's the 29th. That's right, isn't it?
29th.
It's 29th and it starts at 10:30, May 29th.
Okay.
Is that Monday or Sunday?
That's Monday.
So Memorial Day. All right. And when's Christmas this year?
Well, I think I wanted it on the TV so that people would know and be aware. So
I'm just messing with you, buddy.
say that we didn't tell them, you know.
We did put it on our sign.
Sorry. Bob?
know we had our Main Street meeting last week. It was a very good meeting. Just to give you guys some updates what's going on. The first one coming up on June 1st, we're going to have our first Food Truck Thursday. We're bringing in Pack House and Mr. Softy down to Town Center Memorial Park. Set up some picnic tables, and it's a chance for everybody to come out to the park, enjoy hopefully a nice day, and try to show that Dayton's a great place for people to open a place to have lunch or maybe even ice cream parlors. That's one thing we're doing. The Main Street Advisory Board is also taking over the citywide yard sale, which will be on Saturday, July 22nd. So we're doing that. Bike racks will be going in this week. I was interested on that. Greg Whitten got the fasteners to put them in yesterday, so tomorrow looks like it's going to be wet, so probably Thursday or Friday. We had a ribbon cutting for Hometown Heroes this month. It was really good, and I will have another ribbon cutting probably sometime around or after the 10th of May for Trotta Steak and Seafood. The new steak and seafood restaurant will be opening up this month at the old bank building. So that's going very well. I've had a chance to be inside there. Everything's getting wrapped up. The kitchen's getting good, so that's who we want to be opening. So we've had a lot of activity and interest on the Main Street. I think things are going very well. Any questions?
The bike rack ribbon racks when they're installed, will we have a formal ribbon cutting?
Yes, we will. And it's going to be in May, and May is bike month, so it's all turning out well.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'll announce the kind of ribbon cutting. We maybe do it the week of the 19th, so when we back up, start on the 14th, is Bike to Work Week. So maybe I'll do it. I'll reach out to bike groups in Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati and probably put that on the list. So we're in good shape.
Dayton's such a great bikeable community, as you well know, so it's good to get that out and let everyone know.
Yep.
So thanks for your work.
All right, no problem.
Bob, can I just ask you one thing, and I ask Rich this all the time. I know I'm getting old, but could you get this report to us in a little larger format?
Okay. I was saving paper on a PDF. So.
I don't care about saving paper. I put it in my house.
You can blow it up on your screen, but okay.
Exactly. Thank you.
I'll make it longer. Okay. Oh, we should also put up, we have CCAP applications in for Trotta and what's the tattoo studio. So those are, they came in late last week. So Michael and I will look at those this week. So the CCAP program is moving forward. We'll have some more. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, Rich.
How does my report look? Can you read it?
Yeah, I can read it.
I can get it there. Other than that, are there any questions?
I want to make a comment, because I do check your report, Rich. And I think there was like 172 reports on here. 102 of them are open, 70 closed. I really don't care about the closed one. If you can break up closed and open.
There are a lot of closed that have been eliminated already and been filtered out.
The one comment I want to make is that when I counted these up, 100 of the violations come from absentee landlords that do not live in the city of Dayton. So I think somebody's got to work, and I appreciate all you're doing, Rich. Thank you.
I have a question, actually. You have a couple listed on here as under 9903 chronic nuisance prohibited. Could you explain that?
That's our new chronic nuisance ordinance, and once you've exceeded 3 nuisances as defined by our county, our city ordinance, then they've been receiving a $500 citation. Property owners have been receiving a $500 citation for violating the chronic nuisance ordinance.
And are they required to submit remediation plans? to
At
remediate the
at
issue?
private residences, we've been taking the policy, or we've assumed the position of if they evict the the violators, then we basically say that it's been abated. And of course, if they get another tenant in that has another call, it's another $500 citation. So basically, if they evict the tenant who has been excessive on their domestic violence calls or overdose calls, all the things that have been defined as a nuisance, then if they evict the tenant that's been causing those calls, then we allow them to pay out and start fresh. Starting fresh doesn't mean you get 3 more, it just means you can pay your $500 and you don't have to appeal it. And if you try to appeal it, it can be $1,000 or 0. So they had our code enforcement board had the option of saying it didn't occur, which it's kind of hard to do that with a police report that says they all occurred. It doesn't require a conviction or even a citation to be issued under our new ordinance, which is what we were shooting for.
Do you think the ordinance is strong enough?
Seems like it.
It's working. And I'm referring particularly to the case down in Kent. My understanding is that after the second incident, that it was declared a chronic nuisance, eviction was put in place.
That's incorrect. We couldn't consider it a chronic after the second.
Yeah.
We can only consider it a chronic after the third. However, after the second, the property owner had taken action to evict the tenant that was causing the problems. So based on that, the wording of the ordinance is that the property owner failed to act to abate the problem. Well, this property owner did not fail to act to abate the nuisance. He actually acted to abate the nuisance. And based on that, I asked the board to drop the citation.
And that's what we want.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to be shutting people down, but I don't want people just skating along, repeat.
I think it looks great. The wording is perfect, and he did what he was supposed to do. And if people do what they want to do, or that they're supposed to, that we ask them to do, we don't want to cite them. We want them to do what we're asking them to do. He did exactly what we were wanting them to do without any, he didn't even know that there was a citation for the third. He just took action on his own, and based on that, that's what he got.
Now, can the police, because you work Monday through Friday primarily, can the police department write a citation on the weekend for a code violation?
It's not necessary, I can just write on Monday. If say, for example, there was a third nuisance created on a Saturday, they just go and respond to the call. On Monday, I see Chief Hatfill, and he says there was strike 3 on a particular property, and I issue the citation.
Okay, thank you.
A question about a particular building, sir.
Okay.
Walking through the neighborhood the other day, I was stopped by a couple citizens in the same block of 304th concerning the building at 326 4th Avenue with siding falling off the building. The roof is tarped with blue tarp, has been for months, with multiple citations stapled to the front door. And when I look at your report, sir, I see that we have 2 different owners and all these citations are closed. Do we know who owns the building and why are these citations closed?
For particular issues, I prefer to be, I mean, I don't have my report, I don't have my computer with me, so for things like that, if you just call me at the office, I can.
Yeah, I appreciate it because, I mean, I'm walking around the building, it's a nuisance, it's been a nuisance for years. I know I brought it up to your attention before.
Multiple property owners is more than likely the issue. You cite one property owner.
Palm Beach, Florida, and Columbia, I don't know where Columbia is at, South Carolina, I think it is. So, could be Columbia country, I don't know, either way, it's not Dayton. Yeah, so if you could follow up with her, if you want me to follow up an email about that particular property, it's falling over, and we have these closed when you can walk by tonight and see that.
If they're closed, it's more than likely because we've started citing a new property owner. There's not indication of that, I'm not sure why.
Yeah. Okay. It's concerning that we don't know who the property owner is.
I'll find out why.
Thank you.
And the new property owner is.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Richard. Next, Chief Hopkins.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening.
In my report, you'll find our fire and EMS training for last month. We did have a command and control class taught by the state at the Callahan Center. They were able to come down and hit all 3 shifts, and Newport attended also. It's computer aided and basically go over terminology of command. It's really good for the firefighters and younger officers to go through this. It's 3 days, and basically it brushes up their terminology on the ground, fire ground, and clear communication with dispatch. So we did that last week. You'll find our fire inspections and our burn permits. Our fire board meeting on April 29th, I'm sorry, our fire board meeting in April was canceled due to some board members weren't unable to attend. So our next one will be in June. That'll be at the fire station, June 21st, 6 o'clock. I did talk to somebody today about our ladder truck. It's in Dayton, Ohio, get the graphics done. So it'll be finished by Friday and hopefully take delivery Monday or Tuesday of next week. I was going to stop in and see if it would be the bigger bay in the firehouse. Everybody knows Fireman Joe. 2 weeks ago, his daughter contacted me. He had to go to the hospital and he had a pacemaker inserted in his chest. So he's feeling better. He emailed me today and wants to come back to work tomorrow for 1 day and do some paperwork and stuff. So I told him, welcome, come on back. So he's feeling better. Lieutenant Brian Boyers is still off. He's been off 10 weeks due to a shoulder surgery. So we're hoping to have him back this month also. Is there any other questions?
Yeah, Chief, I got a couple questions. First, I want to make a comment. I asked you, how you did on your MDA challenge?
MDA, it was a MDA fundraiser at the Wooden Casket Brewery Company in Newport, a really nice place. I was able to raise $250. I think we were there for about 3 hours. We had a rib eating contest. I came in second. Melbourne's chief came first. It was a city barbecue, so it was a good time. Pretty good, nice little crowd. So well, thank you.
Great, I'd like to congratulate John for volunteers. On one of your reports, everything's in the news about the use of our Narcan, your Narcan, I should say. And I see the first 4 months this year, we've used 74 cases of Narcan. Now that's a little ingenuous. It says 74, but you might be using 5 shots on one or 8 shots on one. So I guess my question is, what's the increase, and you can find this out for me, I'd appreciate it. What's your increase from last year to this year on cost? And I'm assuming it's going to go up. And what do you anticipate for next year's budget, if possible? You won't have to give me the answers to that, but if you could get those to me, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, in March we had 26 overdoses. In April we had 25.
That's both communities.
Both communities. And there were 17 in Dayton in March and 14 in April. And we're paying right around $39.40 for a vial of Narcan. And with the mixing with the fentanyl, carfentanyl, we're using anywhere from 2 to 5.
So
$40 a shot.
This Narcan, but I mean, this report says you've used, there were 74 cases. Is that right, or you've used Narcan 74 times?
This year?
Yeah. It's more than 74.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, that's what I'm
I
saying.
know I'm over $6,000 since January, just in Narcan.
In Narcan, okay. And so that's up some, a lot since last year.
It's last 2 weeks ago I checked, we were 22 for the year.
And I want to make something, clear to me. This report, I think there's, somebody says, well, there's so many in Dayton, there's so many in Bellevue. I don't look at it that way when I look at this report. I look at this report, it says Bellevue Dayton Fire Department. And so when it comes to budget time, it don't say how much, it will say how much Dayton has put up, so much Bellevue, but this is what is the activity is going on in 2 cities. So,
And I know there's been a lot of talking, and I read a lot of social media on, let them die, or just getting 1 shot. We work under the Kentucky Kentucky Board of EMS, and we have protocols. And I actually brought the book today. This is our protocol book that we have to go by, the state of Kentucky. So our paramedics have memorized this. It's through the Commonwealth of Kentucky, so we can't deviate from this. So we have to, as paramedics and EMTs, do everything we can to keep the person alive to the hospital. That is a state law. There's nothing we can, there's nothing else we can do. So if we deviate from that, we are jeopardizing our license, our advanced life support license that Chief Lynn fought so hard for back in the day to get. And I think there's so many people today walking the streets of Dayton that have a second chance because of going to ALS. You know, when we're BLS, you basically just basically put oxygen on a person and run as fast as you can to the hospital. And now the medics can get there and establish an airway, defibrillate, monitor. We can shoot with our new defibrillators we got last year. If we go to UC or any of the hospitals that come here anyway, we can actually shoot them an EKG from our medic unit. So when we get there, doctors, we also can communicate to the medic unit on how much Narcan we have to give the patient. So when we get there, the team is waiting there for us. So everything we do is by law. It's the law of Kentucky. We have to go by cadence. So I mean, there's just a lot of people saying, well, let's try this and that. We can't do that. We have to do exactly what the state says we have to do. Plus, with our license, we work under an emergency room doctor. He is our EMS coordinator. So he basically mandates everything we do, plus this book. We cannot deviate from that at all. So we're doing everything we can on our end out there to try to make a difference. But it's everywhere. You know, a couple weeks ago, we were at 30 in one night. I was in Lexington Saturday, just talking to a firefighter on downtown. He says it's been bad down there, so it is everywhere. You know, everybody's dealing with this right now. It's a hit on the cities. We get it. But we have to give as much Narcan as we can. We're allowed to give 5, and we call medical control, and they'll give us the care. The only time we would not work on a patient, of course, if they're purple, we'll put our monitor on them. If they have a flat line, we know they've been there for a while, we won't work them. If the person has a DNR, sometimes we plug in some non-breather, we don't know if it's an overdose or not. Young people have heart issues also. But if they can provide a DNR, we put it in the corner. Other than that, we have to work with the patient on all runs we get from the hospital.
So a lot of this increase, Chief, is due to the type of drug that's now on the street, right?
That's correct, Councilman Bolger. The Narcan works for the heroin, but it's not working for the fentanyl and the carfentanil, which is an opiate for large animals, tranquilizer. That's basically what they're getting. And we just keep them alive till we get there, but we don't know if it's mixed or not, so we have to go through our protocol. And if we haven't, we've made so many overdose calls, when we get to a scene, we pretty much know if it's an overdose or not. So if we give it to them, it's not an overdose, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt at all. But a lot of times we'll give them 1 or 2 and they come out. And they're telling us, oh, I didn't do that. Well, we knew we did because it brought you out. So, and we see that a lot. The police, you know, they're on the scene with us and we just see so much of it anymore, but everybody's seen it. So we'll keep at it. Good question.
Yeah, we've been exchanging emails with Dr. John Wyrick, and I presume he couldn't make it here tonight. I'm hoping you and he can hook up these. Dayton resident who's very well versed in addictions and treatment programs. So I'm looking forward to how you two guys can work things out here. He has some great ideas. I think the issue, we can't, I mean, it's a state law that the police can't take action in many of these overdose cases. Obviously, we don't, your medics can't make life or death decisions. The whole Narcan, that's off the table completely. What's killing us is the money, okay? And what I would like for you to do, and the fire board members, is to work with the fire board attorney and see if we can't hard bill like crazy on these overdoses. We've got 99 medic assists, not only the 70-some ODs, but almost every one of those 74 we're sending out a fire truck with it also. You're saying $40 a dose on Narcan. You get an aspirin at the hospital, they charge you $200. We should have a hard billing, I don't care if you're a Dayton resident, I don't care if it's me, a hard billing set of, let's say, $1,000 or $2,000 for one of these OD calls, and maybe charge them $100 or $200 per Narcan shot. You go to a hospital, any medical facility marks the drugs up like crazy. We have administrative costs. Now, I know that there's issues with collections on hard billing, okay, a very low percentage. But even if we get that low percentage recouped, we're recouping some of the money. The other issue that that's going to cause is you know, we're gonna have a third-party collection agency going after these guys eventually if they don't pay up. That's another person on their tail. And maybe the word will get out, don't OD in Bellevue or Dayton because you're gonna get hard billed.
I mean, that's something we can look into with our billing company. I know we looked at it 5 or 6 years ago, and the board at the time did not want a hard bill because the citizens are already being taxed through fire tax. And that's something that's, and when we were Dayton before ALS, it was free service altogether, so.
Right. And that's why I wanna check it with the attorney. Can we hard bill in certain cases?
I think we can do what we want, but I think it's up to the billing.
I don't think you can just specify overdoses. If you hard bill everybody. I believe that.
Well, that's what I'd like to investigate with the fire board
Definitely look
attorney.
into that, and I know another thing too we looked into with Medi-Cal. You know, the people that are overdosing, again, a lot of them aren't from here.
Right.
And a lot of them are, nothing against rentals, but you cannot catch up with them.
Right.
I mean, and we've met with Medi-Cal on how we can even get more money. We typically receive about $230, and you'll see that in my budget each year is what we budget to get back from.
230,000.
230,000, I'm sorry. And we get that, but we should be getting a lot more.
Right.
With our run volume.
Understood.
So and a lot of the times, and the chief knows this, we're not getting money because we're getting false information. People have, you know, the police are looking for them, the marshals are looking for them, they don't need identification on them.
Yeah, but I think in
It's almost a
percentage
full-time
of
job for somebody, probably just to track these people. I know we can't. I don't know if our billing company can, but. I mean,
Fort Thomas is dealing with it now, but they're just running out of the hospital after 3 hours because, one, they can't afford to pay the bill. They know they're fine after they got the treatment and because they had to be monitored for 4 hours. And they know that. So when it comes to close to 2.5 to 3 hours, they're running out of the hospital. I mean, I hear calls daily, subject running out of the hospital with an IV in his arm. You know, they're running out to the community in Fort Thomas.
But somebody is going after them for the bill for the hospital.
I think they have insurance that covers that, but, I mean, that's why they're running out. They don't have the money to pay for their medical.
I think it's at least worth a stab to look
Yeah, I mean,
into this.
We can look into it.
We'll look into it.
Because we're wearing down our personnel, we're wearing down our equipment, and quite frankly, we're wearing down everybody's patience, and we're putting a lot of people at risk, innocent people. We see what happened at Smitty's, what happened at the Monument. If we can if we can just push a little bit of that out of town by discouraging it, I say it's worth investigating.
Yeah, we'll definitely, I'll get hold of the attorney and get hold of Medi-Cal and see if we can bill only for heroin risks, correct?
Or fentanyl, or any illegal non-prescription
Then he's
drug.
telling you you can't. I mean,
Yeah, I don't think you can.
he's
Chief Lynn's been doing this a lot longer than I have, as far as with the billing agencies.
You set a precedence of how you're gonna bill, soft bill or hard bill, and you gotta pick one or the other. You can't, the only other thing you can do is you can soft bill your residents and maybe hard bill, people that come into your town and you make a run on them, say somebody from.
Leaves, maybe possibly leaves.
Yeah, and you could turn around and hard bill them, but like Mike said, in the past, we tried this, and basically we were told you're not gonna get anything more because it's gonna cost you, because the billing companies, they have to take and put people aside strictly to track down these people, which is a very tough thing to do. And they've been trying it for years and years. I don't know if anything's changed now, since I've left, but I know that was one of the big reasons there. I don't believe, unless things change, that you can pick out overdoses. We're in hard bill you and you only. I don't believe you can do that. Medicare dictates a lot of ways of way things are billed, and even sets a lot of amounts, because you can raise your amount real high, but the insurance companies are only going to pay this much, just like they do with your doctor bills and everything else. But like you said, they can look at it and see, but I wouldn't hold a lot of hope to it personally.
I think it's at least worth investigating because we gotta try something. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll definitely make some calls.
Anyone else?
So Mr. Burns asked, with all due respect, that, it's Bellevue and Dayton, or you were saying it's just a line item. not community specific, but I do want to be community specific because Dayton is not 100% of the problem. It seems like sometimes in the media, it seems that our name's getting out there. It's not just us. And a lot of times, when we're down at the monument, we're seeing those issues, or we're seeing something at Smitty's. These are people coming from Cleves, Ohio. So why, we're dealing with this issue as a whole, but sometimes we get bad press, but a lot of times it's not our residents. And I want to make sure that, that does get out to folks listening, that it's not always the Dayton resident who's an issue. It's people coming here, going different places, don't know why it's happening here, but it's not necessarily our neighbors and our family.
We've accepted it, we have a problem.
Oh, we have a problem, I agree.
We've accepted it, working and communicating, talking about it, and how we're gonna, maybe hopefully, be able to handle it somehow. When we don't accept it and blame everybody else is when that's never going to be fixed. And I think everybody's accepted it, and our neighboring cities have, and the city after that, and now, I know there's a lot of issues with across the river coming over. I got farming downtown center, I got a lot of people from Kentucky to farm in downtown, in different areas, on Serpentine Mall and everything, in Newport, WD, so it's everywhere. I mean, it's just wherever you can score, I guess that's where you go. And we'll deal with what we have here, and we'll do everything on our part to help with the budget. I know I'll make calls tomorrow. See what we can get.
One thing, did you get some help in North Kentucky Hates Heroin?
Yeah, like 3 weeks ago, Northern Kentucky Hates Heroin brought us a check for $4,000. So that will get us through till.
Which was right after, I believe, you gave the report to us at City Council last time.
Yes.
And thanks to RCN, they got a nice article out there, and people started seeing it, recognizing it, and
yeah, thanks to RCN, the last meeting here, I mean, the next day had 5, 9, 12, 19, everybody, and then wanted to do interviews. And I know it's not what you want to see out there, but we tried to make it negative or positive as we could, and with that, North Kentucky Hates Heroin followed that, followed Michael Monk's paper, and they showed up on a Friday with a check for $4,000 and said, this will help your budget to get you through the new budget comes. So it was greatly appreciated, and it's being spent.
Thank you for enlightening us.
Wish I had better news.
No, but I mean, at least some of the facts are out there now instead of the green. Thank you. Chief Hayfield?
Just, you guys have my report. I didn't have anything else to add to that. Just, say we're working with the fire department to do what we can. There's just not one aspect to combat heroin. There's just not one specific thing to do. I mean, it's everything. It's criminal apprehension, it's prevention, it's education, it's prosecution, it's treatment facilities. I mean, it has to be, all of those things. And, we're doing what we can on our end as far as criminal prosecution. Our hands are tied. Sometimes when it comes to state level prosecution, they get right back out. We're trying to educate people that have overdosed, or we know that have an issue. We hand out, Florida Kentucky Addiction Helpline, facts and stats and stuff like that, try to educate them a little bit. I had some guy came up to my car the other day, not familiar with, and saying he needs help. What can he do? That's the first part they need. They have to recognize it, because you can give them all the help in the world if they want. If they don't want that, then it's not going to do any good. So hopefully with a little bit of manpower, and we got some things working in the works to do criminally to combat this as far as enforcement goes. And we're going to try to work with Northern Kentucky Hates Heroin, see what they can do.
Chief, one other thing, I posted it online and got some pretty interesting response to it. Driving down 6th, which I do twice a day at least, look down at my speedometer, I'm doing close to 30, okay? And I don't feel like I'm going fast. The speed limit's 25. Could we start a community program to drive 25? Because I think when you're going 25 miles an hour down the avenue or up Urban Terrace or on Dayton Pike, you'll get traffic jammed up behind you. I think if we could start that campaign and then come into an enforcement, especially in the 200 and 300 block where people really pick up speed, it's easy to do. That may help with some of the interdiction.
Yeah, we do have grants through the state to do that. But right now, I mean, we're spending with one guy injured. He's probably not going to be back till October with knee surgery and the manpower. It's just, we're trying to fill overtime shifts, and we can't get guys to work these grants because they get 3 days off a week and they're spending 2 of their days on their off days here filling the overtime. I'm working the overtime. I'm working tonight. I'm gonna be working 9 at night till 5, 6 in the morning to fill, to let another officer attend a leadership class. I'm willing to do that for him. So, I mean, we do have, you saw before, we had the speed trailers, we can put in. We had that one for a while, and it was the states, and it broke. So it wasn't in too good of a shape, it needed to be upgraded. But there are different communities around here that we can, Wilder, I think, has one, I know Campbell County has one, so we can always get it in different areas where, we need to enforce the speed.
Do you think signs like W has on Main Street, where they're kind of in the middle of the street, kind of in your face and also kind of almost obstructing the middle of the road, that slows people down to?
Well, I mean, I've looked at getting signs in certain areas, and I don't know if you took my idea or not, but I've seen a couple of them. It actually shows what the fine is for not stopping at a stop sign, like at the main intersections at 6 and Clay, down by the school or Main Street, or certain areas. If you run a stop sign, it's $160 or $50 fine.
Full stops are free.
Yeah, stops are free. Stuff like that. It's just little signs like that that people think, and they're thinking it does good. So it's just something that's it's on my list of things to do.
Is that something we would implement through council? Would it be a mayor's decision? Would it be a Main Street manager's decision, or how
No,
would we expect that?
I don't believe so.
Yeah.
No, it's just enforcement. That's just additional enforcement to the city. So, it just comes to the police department if there's anything special.
If we do something like the signs in the middle of the street, they slow me down when I'm in through Bellevue. I'm afraid I'm going to hit one.
Yeah.
Then you got to get out of your car and fix it, or you're going to have damage in your car, or
I find though, Ben, I drive through Bellevue too, and I find, I've seen people just, they think, well, not that, they think that because that sign's there, they're a pedestrian, they're just gonna walk right on out, man. And I've seen somebody almost hit a couple people like that, they just walk right on out.
well, if they're a pedestrian, that's their right.
Well, I understand that.
That's the law.
The other thing in Bellevue that's a danger, and I'm not, I don't know why they haven't addressed this or not. You can't see pedestrians because they have the yellow lines only 3 feet from the corner. So if there's a truck or an SUV parked there, there's a pedestrian right behind that truck ready to walk out. I've almost hit somebody like that because they start to john out, you don't even know they're there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but, those could cause in certain areas, I guess, people to slow down, but
I was looking at
give
the
people a
corner
false
of
sense of security too, I think.
Walnut right there by Shell. That's a high people crossing the avenue to get into Riverside Market. They're going to get their groceries. Right? A lot of times you see them with kids. And a lot of times they're hesitant to poke their head out right there. There's never cars parking.
By the laundromat, both of those intersections.
Yeah, or a little bit further down the avenue, closer to the schools. I think that would make sense. I don't think every block should have one. I think sometimes it wouldn't make sense, but there are blocks that would make sense. And especially as they transition from Bellevue into Dayton, continue to see those signs say, yeah, this isn't the kind of place you want to speed through. I don't want a ticket. I don't want to hit these. I don't want to hit a person.
I think one thing that'll be interesting to see, and I know it doesn't address the problem, from O'Fallon all the way through the business district, but there are traffic calming solutions. And one thing in particular we already have in the motion. I'd be curious to see when we do start construction for bump outs, we have lighting there, we have trees, seeing if that kind of creates a natural traffic calming in those 2 blocks. I'd be curious to see if it works. If we notice that there's a slowdown in those 2 blocks, then we can look into certainly. There's other traffic calming solutions other than just those types of signs. So I think that'd be kind of I'm not saying we shouldn't do anything until then, but It'd be an interesting little test when those get in to see if that helps that two-block stretch.
So we've been waiting on the bunkhouse for, 2 years or so. And I get it, we're going for KDOT and all that good stuff, but something like that seems like it would be an easier, quick fix
Yeah.
solution.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, then, what's really the money lost?
Right, yes, I say, no wait on this project, but that is something we can look at down the line, and see if this works too. Maybe that, we'll get a lot of information from
One
that.
that says slow, the ones that say slow is not as bad as the ones that say stop, because I was going down the avenue, there was no pedestrian, the lady seemed to said stop, she stopped, like a stop sign. It's like, damn, I don't know where she
Worse than
stopped.
that.
Oh, yeah, good thing I was paying attention, it was a lot worse if I wasn't paying attention. Yeah. You gotta run back somebody like that.
I wanted to compliment Officer Baldwin too on the job he did on the story. I thought he did a great
Put
job.
Tony on the spot. I, again, happened to be out of town when, last time, I guess when they drove through Smitty's, I was at Camp Joy chaperoning the 5th grade Lincoln Elementary, and, I wasn't, they were reaching me by phone call, and of course, I'm in Louisville on Monday for a leadership class, and, we had somebody going through something again, so, yeah, Tony took the reins, he did a real good job, get out the press releases. He was very nervous, but you couldn't really tell.
Chief, the one thing I'm going to ask you, we need to start thinking about, I noticed you just said that you're working tonight, and I compliment you that you're working, you're doing a lot of overtime. These guys not only work their shift, then the next day they got to be in court all day. So we need to be starting thinking about, very seriously about manpower, because you just made a statement that an officer might be off to October. We're gonna burn these officers out real quick, might even burn you out, but we need to start thinking about that, and,
It seems like when we're at 10, we're really at 9. When we're at 9, we're really at 8. We always seem like we're one behind. And you're getting towards the end of the budget, so officers that have been here for a while are using vacation time. And then we have weekly trainings that officers have to get yearly, which, Sergeant Lillick, he's actually away for 3 weeks. He's in a Academy of Police Supervision, which is a 3-week class. It's a good class to get into, and it's very hard. So to get him in, he's a 3rd shift officer. So we're kind of missing that guy on 3rd shift right now, and some are filling in.
well, what I'm suggesting to you is you start figuring out if we need more manpower. Because I don't want to see us ruin our officers, I don't want to see us ruin you. And I think our police department is the finest it's ever been at. So we need to think about the manpower.
Yeah,
Because if we don't, we're gonna burn these people out, and we're also gonna lose them.
Yeah, I'd like to be at 11, but I think we're mandated for 10 through council, so that would have to be, I guess, brought up by you.
It would have to be an ordinance change, and the council will agree to it, that's what it is, it's a number change.
Yeah, and I've talked to Joe at basketball games about it too, about adding that one more person, would be very nice to do, and we're gonna need it. I mean, we're building behind the flood wall, we're supposedly gonna be adding 2,000 people here in the next couple of years. I mean, we probably need to be up to 12, when we get all this said and done with the hill and stuff behind the flood wall. The manpower needs to be brought up a little bit, but right now it needs to be 11.
And a little bit of budget, but,
Yeah, we
that's the
do
thing.
need that.
I just think we need to plan ahead.
Do you want to have a safety meeting, discuss it, and have them come back with a recommendation?
Well, I think before that, you have to look at what is your budget proposal for next year? We'd like to have 20 police
I
on
understand,
duty.
I think when you guys came back and said, yeah, we definitely need this, then we can, while we're putting our budget together, we can add that.
Yeah, I'd like to have a safety meeting, try to get them together here.
You call it.
Anything else, Chief?
I mean,
Might be enough too.
Yeah, you're bored. Talk to the board.
Anything else, Chief?
No.
Anyone else got anything for Dave? All right, thank you. Donna, any communications?
I know, sir.
Any petitions?
I have some, sir.
Okay.
I've been asked by a resident to have the city install speed bumps in the alley, in the 600 block between 5th and 6th. It's a nice, smooth, clean alley. A lot of people, especially in the mornings, use that as a cut-through. People are trying to pull, some of the people on those blocks are using off-street parking, thankfully, and they're complaining that it's difficult to pull out. I don't want as many speed bumps as we have in the block behind.
Which 100 block?
The 600 block of the alley between 5th and 6th.
Like I said, I just didn't get the block.
Yes, sir. Just a couple of, one or two, just to slow things down and maybe make it less of a drive-through. I also have another request from another citizen to do the same thing in the alley in the 400 block of 7th. Again, people are cutting over from McKinney over to Irvin. You know, 7th is the one street, well, obviously between 6th and 8th, but yeah, that block there, nice concrete, but people tend to go too fast. And I also had a very interesting proposal given to me by a citizen, and it seems to make too much sense, and I don't know if this has ever been discussed before. The Irvin Terrace underpass is, I don't know how people have not been killed there. It's difficult to stay in your lane. People are coming down the hill too fast. People are going up the hill too fast, trying to get a head start. Why don't we just put stop signs on either side of the bridge?
Why? Why don't people just slow down and do the speed limit?
And it doesn't happen.
I mean, I use that street. I don't ever get any incidents where somebody was hitting like that.
I've had a few already, sir.
We had any wrecks?
No, I think it's just the way it is when you're coming down Irvin, you see the bottom of Irvin. It's not, you can't see in front of you till you get at the bottom and start coming around that bend is when you see the car maybe coming towards you where you're gonna have to make that quick decision to stop. And you know, it's happened to me, you know, where you come down the hill, you're coming down the hill, and boom, you're at the bottom, you're seeing in front of you and there's a car. You're gonna have to stop. So, and then usually somebody makes whatever way to kind of get through, one lets one through. But I mean, that's the only, you know, issue I see. I mean, you just can't see ahead of you. And when you're coming the opposite way, when you're going up the hill, you can't see cars coming down the hill because all you see is the bottom of the hill.
Right there.
Yeah.
Do you think stop signs would help there?
I don't think so. No.
I think it would cause maybe a traffic.
More of a traffic backup.
Because you can't get two cars to pass each other when there's parking on both sides there. So I think a stop sign would start having cars back up.
You'd have to get rid of the on-street parking.
You'd have to do
for a
something
certain
because I
area.
think it would
Yeah.
back up.
The citizen brought it to me, and like I said, it seemed like a solution.
That's, I mean, obviously stopping was a safe solution. But, yeah, it would cause a backup because if you get a couple cars back, the cars that are proceeding forward aren't able to get through because there's two cars parked on each side of the road. So
Okay.
it's gonna be difficult to do.
Well,
It is a difficult.
like I said, I thought it was an idea worth considering at least. It's all the petitions I have from the citizens.
Thank you. Anyone else have any petitions? Any unfinished business? Unfinished business?
Yeah, just like Michael give us an update on the park conversion, the latest on that.
There's no real update other than the correspondence I got 2 weeks ago was we were second in line. There was a conversion that a contact in Atlanta was working on from North Carolina, and that we would be next. I don't know what, I would suspect, this is just a pure guess, that we would probably hear something certainly by the end of the fiscal year. I mean, I'll look for, I'll ask for an update, but I would think a couple of weeks to finish that, and then ours would get reviewed in a couple of weeks. I would think it'll take a couple of weeks to get reviewed, so, you know, 1 to 6 months out. I'm hopeful for something in the next 6 weeks. And I'll get a more firmer update sent on email. That was 2 weeks ago, I got that email.
But all the paperwork now is clear?
Yeah, everything's down in Atlanta at the National Park Service. There's one person that's reviewing it, from what I've been told. It's on her desk and her desk alone.
Must be a busy desk.
Yeah.
Can we, you're talking about the Dayton Pike conversion,
Yes.
correct? Okay. One of the benefits of this park conversion tying it in with the sidewalk grant, is putting sidewalks all the way up to Chateau Ridge. If we put sidewalks in, we're gonna have curbing there, right? Obviously, I mean, the sidewalk's not gonna be at street level, it's gonna be back or elevated from street
Not
level.
necessarily, no.
One of the big issues we have on Dayton Pike, I mean, I know we've had 300-year rains in the past 6 months. We got flooding up there. Part of it is because on the east side of Dayton Pike, it comes flying down the driveways, goes straight across and into those people's yards. Putting that sidewalk in, curbing in, is gonna alleviate at least some of that, rather than the little mounds of asphalt that break off. Can we start that project before we've been waiting 2 years on this Dayton Pike conversion.
No, the delay right now is because the bid for the design came in higher than the budget, so we had to ask for additional funds. Basically, what we've been waiting for is for them to approve moving the funds over to design. We're hoping to get on the OKI agenda for next Thursday, when we'll approve that. We're confident they're gonna approve it, it's just been a delay. The problem is, you know, if we wanted to start that as a city, you technically could, I suppose. The issue that we're gonna run into, though, I'll just be quite frank, because of the way that they changed the process, is we are gonna look into designing it, hopefully with curves, but we're gonna have to take the firm's recommendation on how best they can fit in the sidewalk. A new wrinkle that's kind of been thrown in, that I've started to ask some communities about, because it's going to delay this thing even further, is they now require us to contract with a third-party attorneys for right-of-way acquisition. So we can't even go to the individual property owners and have Tom help us with right-of-way acquisitions. We now have to sub that out, and we have to acquire, they can't just give it to us, we have to go acquire maybe for right-of-way acquisition. So that, even if they approve the design and we got it done by July 1st, but before we start construction, we have to enter a right-of-way phase. This is a new caveat that they brought up. So yeah, if you want, you could look into funding that on our own, and then we could possibly fill in the blanks. But Bob's been dealing with Frank for a little bit more on this now than I have. I kind of pass it on to him. Bob, I don't know if you want to weigh in, but sure, it's kind of.
In getting the fund transfer, I worked several months on this, and I hope today at 5 o'clock was the deadline to get it on to the OKI board agenda for next week. And trust me, I had good pressure, and I got some responses today, and I hope that I called at 4 o'clock to OKI to see if everything may come in. I will follow up and call them, and I emailed them, I'll follow up and call them for me to see if we got on to the OKI tip modification agenda.
Could they make that decision immediately at the meeting, or is it going to be
We'll
another
vote
meeting?
on it, and that should be the point that releases the funds, so we can go through the design.
We haven't sat down with GRW because we don't have the funding approved to pay them yet. Once we get the funding approval, we can sit down and talk about those things that you mentioned. Based on their analysis, where can we put the sidewalks? Do we have to put them right against the roads at the best grading, or do they have to be maybe offset? Now we're back how much right of way we need to acquire. So there's a lot of moving pieces, so it's not just as easy to say, yeah, they're gonna have curves, because they may come back and say, this section could probably run close to the road, and it would have curves, and maybe this section is 10 feet off of the road, and it doesn't. It's gonna be based on their recommendations, based on different areas as you go up the hill. There's some areas where they're concerned and how we're gonna be able to stabilize the sidewalk, and there's other areas like Dayton Pike where it's pretty simple. You just run our property on Dayton Pike, you just run it through the parkland, and it's easy.
Yeah, I'm concerned from Belmont to Chateau Ridge.
Yeah, there's some steep areas where it drops off that ravine, where they told us, it can be done, but look, it's gonna have to get creative on how we design that, and it's obviously probably adding construction costs to the moment.
Like I said, I know the rains have been unusual. since last September, those 2 rainfalls, and then the past 2 that we've had, but it just seems like the flooding on that street, especially for like the Ripley's and the house beside it, is worse than ever.
Yeah, we're certainly gonna try to kill 2 birds with one stone. If we can get the curb work in, I totally agree with you, why not? But I don't wanna promise it, because it's a lot's up in the air with how they can design it. Right-of-way acquisition, there's a couple more, it's unfortunate to say, it's just, there's a couple more steps here.
That's like I said to Mr. Yoder, but dead snails seem to move faster in this project.
Yeah.
Is the right-of-way acquisition strictly a negotiation type of situation, or is there kind of a set recommended fees for that?
What'll end up happening is they'll hire a right-of-way attorney. You'll see something cost a lot of money to hire a right-of-way attorney. And what's gonna happen is they'll approach every homeowner, they'll see if they'll go ahead and sign over, and they'll just simply try to negotiate those for the lowest price. They'll have some caps on them, of course. But the problem is let's say a homeowner says, I'm not gonna give you extra right-of-way for the sidewalk project, forget that. And then, then it becomes a litigation issue. So it could go all across the board on expense.
Bob knows, because he deals with several grants in several communities, but we're afraid even finding the attorneys to do it is gonna be a challenge. They kind of set this almost unrealistic expectation, and he's going through it with some things that he's working on throughout the region. And there's gonna be some guinea pigs before us, they're gonna have a hard time even finding an attorney that's gonna take.
I worked with South Bank on a project that's leading the way, it's a Silver Grove St. Francis School project. They need to get an attorney to do mediation for what's probably gonna touch 3 or 4 pieces of property, 3 or 4 different owners, and they can't find one, or if they do, they want $50,000. Essentially, they're saying, I don't want to do it. When you bid something that high, you're filling out a bid document saying, I'm bidding so high. I went and had a meeting with Jack Moreland on Friday about this, to talk about this, because this is going to affect every something. This is going to affect every city, because these grants were put in before this came out. And so when people wrote these grants, they didn't know that the expenses was going to be there. And there's going to, I think we're probably going to have some city managers and mayors meetings about this and understanding. I mean, I can understand if you're doing a project like Kentucky 9 in Newport. That's a big project, millions and millions of dollars. You're doing a $250,000 St. Francis School project, and you got $50,000 of that going to an attorney for mediation. It doesn't work. And I think we need to be some discussions about this.
I think the discussion that really needs to be held, we're talking 2 different programs here. We're talking the Safe Sidewalk Grant, which is a paperwork nightmare, and design and litigation, and the park conversion. The park conversion is holding up development down on Manhattan Park. Can we unbind them? Right now, the 2 projects are bound together strictly because of what we wanted. Can we just do the park conversion, get that in motion? It may cost us a little bit more.
They won't lift the restriction on the riverfront until there's an open park. Now,
Right.
I think what you're saying is, can we at least work within the confines of the park on something on our own?
That's what I'm asking.
And the answer is, yeah, I think there's a way that we can do it. Bob and I've got a couple ideas on how we can do it. I'm not ready to share those today, but we're thinking ahead of if this thing's gonna be delayed and we don't do construction this year, we still have to open up a park sometime this year. That's still my goal, because that's encumbering lots of acreage on the development. So I think that's a discussion we can have here going forward. I'll start to kind of vet some of our ideas and see which ones are the most likely. But yeah, we would probably have to step up and do something within the confines of that park, because they're not gonna lift the restriction until the park's open. So even if it's just a sidewalk that just serves the park area and we connect it later, I think that's gonna have to be something that needs to be considered.
I think we should put it on the front burner, because I think this sidewalk grant, like you said, with the engineering, litigation, and everything else, this could be another year and a half.
But I think you could do the sidewalk along the park area.
Yeah, because we don't have right of way.
We own the
Yeah, right.
property.
Exactly.
We could do stuff in our right of way. It's as we extend outside of our right of way, our property that we
So,
own.
yeah, we could start this project and it could satisfy the park conversion element. That is gonna be a priority, is a priority. We're talking about how that would look. I need to find out if this park conversion goes through first, because that dictates how these agreements that we have in place for property acquisition then go. But we're ready to move forward with plans. We've got ideas on how we're gonna do it. If the grants get delayed and the park conversion comes, we gotta open the park sometime this year. That's still the goal.
Great, that's exactly what I wanted to hear, and as I said, instead of waiting for OKI and somebody in Georgia and everything else.
We'll have to move the park forward, for sure.
Understood.
So I want to know, we're pressing as hard as we can, if not even more. I mean.
Well, that's the most information I've gotten on an update since last month's council meeting, so
Okay.
that's why I asked. Thank you. In old business, we're still in old business?
Unfinished business.
Unfinished business. I mentioned this a couple of times, and over the past couple rains, I invite anybody to go up to Urban Terrace and see what I'm talking about. At the top of Urban Terrace, near 10th, there's one drain that's flat. I've even got videos of it. Just a flat drain. Water goes right over it. The slope is too steep. The water's moving too fast. Down on the east side of Urban, when you get down before 10th Street, there's one of the cheese grater type covers, much like you have in front of your house, where they're angled, and I can show you the video. All the water went down and nothing went over it, even though there was debris on it. We've got a lot of sloped streets. We've got Thornton, O'Fallon, Walnut. There are other drains on Urban Terrace and on 10th that are these flat drains. I think we need to make a concentrated effort to replace those with the type drain that's there at Urban in front of Bill's house. I think it would eliminate a lot of the runoff into these properties, especially during these heavy rains. I'd like to see that somehow included in Public Works priority list. The other thing is, in talking with the homeowner at the top of Urban Terrace, because I noticed a lot of the water coming down Urban Terrace had a lot of mud in it. Follow it up the hill, it's actually coming from Fairfield, okay? Go up to the top of, and it's damaging the property there at the top of Urban. You go up to Fairfield, and when we repaved it, we only put in a low curb, not a hard curb, but a real low curb. And you can see, at least with the 2 rainfalls that I was up there, the water went right over that, right down that gully into Mr. Diltz's backyard and shoots right down Urban. I'd like to have Public Works or an engineer or something take a look at replacing that curbing up there, at least for about 100 feet before it gets to the Vaught house, before it gets to there. I think that would force the water to stay, because the drains on Locust are great. They're grabbing everything, but it's shooting down that hill and right into the Dilt's backyard.
Are you talking about the new curves off here?
Yes.
I mean, when we repaved it, and worked with the concrete companies and the pavers, and I would need to get something from Rick, because he would have a little bit more information, but I remember meeting him up there, and we told the concrete company that we wanted to put in as tall as curves as possible. And because of the slopes of the road and things that were existing there, they had a tough time getting what they had there. I mean, those things are pretty deep and pretty thick, but because of the slope and the way that the road had to be put in, that's really as high as they said they could put them in. They were shocked they even got them that high. So it's not as easy as you think of just going in and making the curbs bigger. They're going to continue to, there's a reason that they could only do what they could do. If you make them bigger, they're going to continue to fail, they're going to continue to replace them.
Well, in that case, at least as a remediate step, there's a drain probably about 40 feet up from that swale there, where I sent you the pictures.
Are you still on Fairview?
I'm still on Fairview. There's a drain on the north side of the street. It's one of those flat drains, and the water goes right over it. If you could replace it with one of those cheese graters, that may take some of that. Another issue that in the past has been brought before council is all the rainwater that comes down off of 7th Street down towards Benham
the backyards there. And we've had issues with SD1 up there, the Homeland Yards. And I'll forward everyone these pictures, but I wanted to bring it up. At the 1100, the house at 1100, when you're going up 7th Street, you have a couple of homes and then a wooded area that's for sale, and then you have that old alley that goes down there into those backyards and connects to Benham. If you look at that alley going down the hill, that's got ruts in it this deep from the water going down, okay? There is no curbing, there is no sidewalk, there is nothing to prevent the water coming off that 7th Street hill and going right down there and into the backyard. Simple solution. All you have to do is close that street there. Put a sidewalk across,
If you're
put a
not
curb
close
across.
by Benham, that's the one that they use for emergencies in case the railroad gets caught, like a train gets locked off.
There is no way anybody, you couldn't use that with any vehicle we have in our fleet.
We've used it before. Yeah, there you go. Look at the chief police.
I'll get through there, but you are right,
It is
it's the
rough.
ruts
It's
are
rough.
getting, yeah, it's rough and the ruts are.
But that's what
But
that's
it's
for.
for emergency, it's not supposed
Yeah,
to be for.
and if you get stuck by the train, the
I
train
understand that's the
comes,
only way into
you
that
can't get in
neighborhood.
and out. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we
So
need to
that's
look
what
at
they use that for.
improving that then. We really got, that's where the water's coming from for those people on 6th Street. It's going right down that alley. Go up there anytime now, you can see the deep ruts if it hasn't been
Yeah,
fixed.
some of them have back gates with openings underneath, so.
There's some property issues. I mean, this is not the first time this has come up there. We've had people come to the meetings before.
Right.
We've been up, I've been up there. But there's some things that you cannot, if you got an open gate where the water's gonna go right through it, we can't block off this gate.
I'm talking about the water coming off of 7th that's ended up going under their gate.
I know.
If we can divert that from 7th to stay on 7th, that's why I'm saying if you have to keep it open as a street, put a sidewalk or a curb there that you can get over, and that way it'll block the water and keep the water on 7th rather than coming down that alley. Maybe it makes, I don't know.
I'm sorry, Joe.
Go ahead.
Joe, I got it down.
Thank you. Take a look at it.
Michael, you mentioned, and Joe mentioned, I think it was Fairview.
Yes, sir.
Listen, when you resurface that street, you put a rounded curve up there. And where Joe's talking about, where the grate is, because I was up there too, Joe, the water comes down, it doesn't even go to the grate, it comes down and goes over you're 4 foot from the grate itself. It's not even going into the sewer, so if you would build some kind of, I don't want to say a wall, but if you build something there where it diverts the water to go down to the sewer, then it wouldn't even come down on these guys' property. That's the problem up on Fairview.
Anything else?
I don't. Maybe someone else does.
We got new business?
I got one
No,
more.
this is still old business.
We're still on business. One thing in old business is, however many months ago, we decided to move the park from Walnut Street over. Wanted to check in the progress on that, because we're about to get the time of basketball playing time.
We closed on the second lot Friday, or officially yesterday, so we've got full clearance to start getting in there, which we anticipate doing starting tomorrow. The developer's gonna help us grade it a bit. We're gonna get rid of the shed and all the concretes and everything, but that's what we'll do starting tomorrow.
The BTA?
We're gonna get it done as quickly as we can.
PQ. So I got.
Go ahead.
I knew it, I just wanted to make sure it was on.
Anyone else with any unfinished business? Jeff, I think you can help before we get
Oh,
into
good.
it. You good? Any new business?
Yes, sir, I've got one concern and one request. On Saturday night, in front of my pool, where I live, the train was stopped for over 2.5 hours. Now, there is a law that says they can't block an intersection more than a half an hour. I contacted the fire department, and they were contacted. I contacted the police department, I don't think they was contacted, and also the city wasn't contacted. I know CXX is hard to work with, but to avert a tragedy, what I saw was some young kids climbing underneath the train and over the train, and if that train would have started up, we'd have had some kid with no legs or no body left. So if, Michael, if you can contact CSX, and it wasn't because there was a train, accident or anything. What they was doing was dropping rocks and packing rocks on out by the cemetery out there. Because one of the residents out there said they was packing rocks for over 2 hours, so I know this is what they did. So, yeah, CSX needs to be a better person and contact the city. And then we can put it on our electronic board, or we put it on our website, and if the police and fire department knew, they can be cognizant of and aware of it, they can drive around, okay? One other thing I'm gonna request you or the mayor, as was mentioned, we have an upcoming parade. And the entrance sign come on O'Fallon, it doesn't look too good. I think it needs to be repainted on O'Fallon.
The black sign?
Yes, the black is, and I think the shrubbery underneath it is bad. And also, I think that sign there for the school, I think that is a great accomplishment, and I think it gets lost on that sign there. We got a great big sign, and then you got this thing for the great accomplishment the school kids did, and it's down the bottom. It just doesn't look right there. Maybe we need to think about putting it on its own pole or something.
Well, I was happy when we put it out, but we tried different scenarios, and I was even in my car to see what would look best. And it was getting lost on the poles too. To be honest, I think it was my opinion that was the best spot for it. But
I just think it gets lost on that big sign. I think you
all
need to
the
look at it.
poles we tried to put it on, it was hard to see too.
It needs to be repainted, and the shrubs underneath there. If we get that done before the parade, I'd appreciate it.
Any else with any new business?
I do, sir.
All right.
Okay, Irvin Terrace, 500 block. Originally, I had proposed to change it to two-way, and I understand the challenges of that. I'd still like to change it to one-way southbound in the 500 block from 5th Street to 6th Street. Every morning and many evenings, especially in the mornings, I'm going down 6th Street, and at least once or twice, someone's trying to pull out of Walnut or Vine and trying to turn left, and it's really dangerous. This morning, in fact, even though I was only doing 25, I almost T-boned somebody because they couldn't see. I think making that southbound towards 6th Street would allow all those 200 and some homes down there a safer access onto 6th. Michael, we've been talking about this for a while, and on March 20th, you sent council a proposal from CT Consultants to do a study, because I want a professional study to see if I'm right or wrong, for $3,150, because it's under the $10,000, we don't have to put it out for bid, correct? $20,000. Okay. So I would like to make a motion, and hopefully with council's support, to engage CT Consultants by their March 17th submittal for a total of $3,150 to do the study on changing Irvin Terrace to one-way southbound from 5th to 6th.
I only got one comment on that, if I can. From a business standpoint, that would destroy that business, because that's the way people come, they go down that street, they don't come up the street. People leave that way, but you can't expect the customers to go over a block, come up a block, and then come back up another block.
You have a cutout, you have a driveway cut from 6th Street there to be able to get back out.
Yeah, but
or get in.
Not always, that lot's not always open. Yes, ma'am, you got something to say about that?
Oh, I see people coming out there all the time. I live on Terrace.
There you go.
They're coming up.
Yeah.
They turn out there all the time. Because they go the wrong way on the one-way street.
They're doing it anyway.
You made a motion?
I was 100% against your two-way. I didn't think it made sense. I think it makes sense to at least investigate this.
As a one-way.
As a one-way in that direction. Two-way would make no sense with the traffic jam.
Understood.
Or with the skinniness of that.
So are you seconding the motion?
I'll second the motion.
They got a motion by Joe.
Let me point a discussion here, because I just want to try to figure this out. So basically, you're looking at 5th, 4th, 3rd, all the way down from, let's say, McKinney through Vine. It would give those people
McKinney through almost O'Fallon egress and onto the avenue. So, and with the additional apartments that are going in down there, it might be a good idea to investigate it to see if that's gonna be a safety feature or not. I mean, I think it makes sense to take a look at it and see what the study says.
No, like I said, I would rather have the study in front of us so we can make the decision then as to whether or not to make it one way. We've got,
Do you want,
or whether to do it or not, as a result of the study.
As far as the study goes, Mike, what exactly would they be looking at? Just that area there?
Well, I don't know. That's what
The extended area?
yeah, that was gonna be my comment, I don't know. So the original assessment was to look at it for a light change and two-way.
That was the original.
I've got it here.
If I would probably recommend going back, letting me go back and say that the scope has changed drastically. I mean, you're not just asking for a light interchange now, you're asking to change a street from one direction to the other. I don't know what other streets scope is gonna need to look at, it may affect the cost, I have no idea. That's just my 2 cents.
I have the scope of services here. I have the submitted proposal here. The scope of services is traffic signal modification review, collect and gather traffic counts and turning movement data for Route 8 at Vine Street, Irvin Terrace, and McKinney Avenue, and analyze the data for existing traffic signal operation and proposed modified signal operation to determine how changes would affect traffic flows.
But that's not what you're asking for. You're asking for changing it from one way going north to one way going south. It has nothing to do with signalization and changing signalizations.
You'd have to put a signal up southbound on 6th, right where that walk sign is. You wouldn't even have to put up a pole. It's directly across from Irvin.
So you're saying
all I'm asking
that the scope of the change, they're pretty much the same.
Right, yeah, right. Yeah, so they'd have to put a traffic light there facing down or towards the river on Irvin Terrace.
Coming up, you're gonna put that like.
Or towards the river.
No, towards, up, you're going up. Now you're going up.
I'm saying from a light standpoint, the light would be on the south side of 6th Street, and you'd be able to see it coming southbound on Irvin.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. My initial take on it then, outside the scope, the conversations that I was having with CT, Bob Hands, who's the one that gave us the bid, obviously the former director at District 6, was that something to keep in mind. Obviously, this would be in the study, but he would not recommend, at least right off the bat, is what he told me, because of the drastic offset. You can't have northbound traffic coming down the hill from Urban going at the same time as, if you flipped it, having southbound traffic coming from Lower Urban at the same time. So you're going to be drastically affecting the lights, but that's obviously what you're going to find. And you find out more about that in the report. But
I want to report.
So the lights would have to be at different times.
right. So you can have longer red lights then on Kentucky Route 8, which is probably going to be a negative impact of doing that. Just a guess.
Well, for
but
the
I'm sure
number-
you find out more about that if they did the report.
My only feedback on that is gonna, delay response time for me and the squad, because you're gonna have to only go, if you can't go north down Irvin, you're gonna have to always stay behind.
District 6 is not gonna like to see more red lights. And I'm not just saying this because it's the mayor, just as a business district, I would agree with the mayor. It's probably-
Every other street, it's easy to turn off of 6th.
I've
McKinney and Vine and Walnut.
I've been told by multiple residents below the avenue, and this isn't myself, because I never go east, I never go west on that alley, I always go east, because it just makes sense. But multiple people have told me below the avenue that they feel that they can't get out anywhere safely on the avenue without having to go all the way down to O'Fallon. So you're talking about everybody from Berry to O'Fallon don't have an option to be able to turn safely on the avenue without pulling out and praying that they don't get T-done.
If they're going in either direction.
Yeah, going right's your best direction,
Sure,
but
yeah.
going left's the most dangerous. Going right, though, you're still gunning it. And heaven forbid, some kid steps out while you're doing that because you're trying to avert traffic from the left. But it's a dangerous situation. That's why I'm interested in it. But I can also see Mr. Brusky's concern about the business there, because even if, and this is something that they can tell us, even if the business does continue to be as successful as it is a successful business. Now they're coming down Fifth or Fourth, then up, then you're gonna have people complaining on Fourth that whatever business is now going down that direction. So they're,
But, you know, everything's being said, and I agree with, but, you know, we got I think could be a potentially bigger problem coming as soon as that construction's done down at the bottom of Pine Street. There's gonna be traffic coming out, and I just don't think we need to jump the gun right now. I think we need to wait and do a bigger overall study once we start seeing traffic flow from that, to see what we really have to do. If what Joe said is the right way to go, then so be it. But they may have an alternative, because these people are becoming straight up Pine. Now we're again coming across different ways. I mean, even that intersection at Fifth and O'Fallon, something's gotta be done with that thing, because that's just unbelievable there.
7-way intersection.
But what I'm saying is, I don't think we need to jump out and just, let's jump on this and do this, and then find out, hey, that wasn't the right thing to do.
I'm asking for a professional study by.
Well, and I'm saying let's do a bigger professional study when the.
after the condos are put in.
Right, after the condos are put in, and then we can look and then do a bigger study to see what we do have and what we gotta do. You did a study yourself, Joe, a while back and handed out that book and all that. I mean, that was premature to what's actually going on now.
It was in anticipation of the condos going in there.
But, like I said, I think we got something bigger to be looking at, and doing this study, I think we just might be jumping the gun.
Well, we've had issues down, especially on the 400 block of 4th Street, where it is so narrow, and that is the only eastbound way. In fact, we had, people park their cars on the sidewalk because they're always getting clipped, it's so narrow there. That would alleviate a lot of that traffic going down, especially on that block, to go eastbound. And the biggest problem is in the morning, people taking their kids to school, especially in inclement days. Like I said, we got 260 homes down there. I would just like to see, I get what you're saying, Denny, that it's gonna be a lot more traffic down there. My question is, how long is this study gonna take? Probably 4 to 6 months. It's gonna take that into consideration. The construction will probably take about another 8 to 12 months. We already know how many units there's gonna be and how many parking spaces. The O'Fallon issue, the Fifth and O'Fallon, absolutely, that's a separate issue altogether. I would just like to get this study started to see if we're at least on the right track. We've got $2,000 already budgeted in professional service for city engineering. If it is a negative impact on the businesses or the communities down there, the study will show that. And then we can decide whether or not to make it a one-way.
I'm with you on this, Joe, I truly am. I'm trying to figure out, though, what was that original $3,500 for the traffic study to include? Does it include looking beyond the corner of McKinney and 6th? Does it go beyond that? We'll look at Vine. We'll look at...
Collect and gather traffic counts and turning movement data for Kentucky 8 at Vine Street, Irvin Terrace, and McKinney.
So it takes into all 3 blocks.
And we can amend this if need be to, I don't know, like I said, it's $3,100 to find out if I'm right or wrong from a professional, not just a personal opinion. I think it's worth it. Pardon me?
That's what I was wondering.
What's that?
No, pay attention.
He had to leave, he kept going still.
No one's
We
ever.
lost an attorney, we lost.
I was saying, Joe, I was checking the budget for professional services, I think is.
That's my point, I made my motion.
Hold on.
You might have another comment.
If the study includes all those different streets, I would continue my second motion. If they continue with the idea, what Danny said, that makes a lot of sense. We're gonna have an additional X amount of traffic down there.
Another time, then we wait till the place was built and then do a study over the whole area and see what we need to move and what we need to do. Right, that's, yeah, you're saying the same.
I don't wanna do 2 studies.
Make a broader study once it's all further developed.
There's only $2,000 in the
Right.
professional study. That's not a deal breaker. It's-
Understood. I saw that.
That whole account is well funded, so that's not.
Well, a study that's gonna encompass fifth and O'Fallon and all of that is gonna be another year and quite a few more $1,000.
Okay.
So Denny, your concern is that once the condos get put in down there, we're gonna have traffic flow either coming up Walnut or O'Fallon. We're gonna have a big increase of traffic coming up Walnut and or O'Fallon.
Yeah, truthfully, you really don't know where they're gonna go, because they're trying to work its way out.
Well, it depends on which way they're going, east or west,
Right,
too.
right.
But if they're going, I'm assuming most of these people coming out there are gonna be going west.
And they're gonna
In all
probably,
probability.
and they're
Yeah.
probably gonna be taking O'Fallon.
O'Fallon, or some of them may go straight up Walnut and just try to get out of Walnut.
From the parking garage, they'll have access to Manhattan Park, Manhattan Boulevard.
So they will get to O'Fallon that one.
Okay. Any more comments? A motion and a second? Roll call vote.
Member Burns?
No.
Member Neary?
Aye.
Member Baker?
Aye.
Member Haas?
No.
Member Lynn?
No.
Member Bolter?
Aye.
It is a tie.
No. Okay, moving on. Any more new business?
One more thing. And that is, gentleman, Mr. Hanson, owns a home at 119 4th Avenue, directly next to the development that we're speaking about. With the road between, there's been a temporary construction road built between his house and his neighbor's house that accesses the apartment house. During the most recent 100-year rains that we get every week, the road has been, and I got pictures I can show you guys as well, has been diverting water against his foundation. And there's a hole big enough, it's that big, that's going right into his basement and flooding his basement, flooding his furnace. So obviously this is a developer-built road, and this is a developer problem.
It is. I've worked pretty closely with Ken over the last several weeks. Very hard on getting the developers to reach out to him. They did finally reach out to him. What I'm being told, this is the latest update that I have, is that they meeting the developers and Cardinal Engineering, who's down there on site doing project management, have talked with Mr. Henson. They've been in Mr. Henson's property, assessing the damage he's had to his basement. They have identified the problem as a broken downspout. So his downspout, which runs underground, is collapsed, which is causing the sinkhole by the foundation that you see. My conversation with them on Friday was Cardinal Engineering was going to bring in a camera to verify that. And even if it is broken, they would think that's Mr. Henson's problem, but they have agreed to fix it for him. So that's the latest information I have. I don't have verification if that 100% is the problem, but that's what they have identified as causing the sinkhole and water. Now, even though they said it's not their problem, they have told Mr. Henson and me that they were going to fix it. So it's,
As long as you're working with Mr. Henson, at the end of the day, it's his call. I mean, you've seen it, it looks like water is pulling off in that direction, off that road.
no, I don't disagree that there's water in between the foundation and the road. I don't deny that at all. I can see the pictures of it, but I'm imagining in a heavy rain, it's going downhill, that's going in between the channel. The question is that causing it, or is the broken line causing it? And that's what they're trying to identify. If it's the broken line, the developer said they'll still fix it. How they're going to fix it, I think maybe a point of contentiousness, which I think they're going to work out. If it's the road, in fact, causing it, or the channel between, then I'll continue to work with developers to try to get that situation resolved. But I'm waiting to hear back if they film the line, and if it's the collapsed line. They don't know where it runs to, so that's what they were going to check. They're pretty certain that the sinkhole, if you saw next to the foundation, is where the broken line is.
You know, Michael, I don't disagree that there's probably a broken line down there that's causing the vast majority of the water to go into that guy's basement. But unless they channel the outside edges of that road, water is still gonna run against his foundation. And it's probably gonna seep in, not like a gusher, but it's gonna seep in. They just need to do something to channel those outside edges to keep that water from running on.
This developer, I'm very disappointed in the progress that this developer's making. We gave them that land in exchange for a playground that we still don't have a spaded dirt turned on, even though that was one of the caveats that we put on that, one of the requirements. I haven't seen anything in Clear Divide. We're allowing them to use the city lot to park their trailer on and put this gravel driveway on there, and now they're causing problems on the side. We've had, obviously, you're gonna have vibration problems with the drilling and everything else that affected the neighbors that we put up with. And we still don't have any concrete poured down there. We gotta put some pressure on this developer, or get some answers from this developer as far as what's gonna happen. We've got a mud hole down there that is higher than the properties beside it on Third. The drain pipe that is down there in that hole is capped. So if we do get another 1,000-year rain, it's gonna end up on Third Street. I would like for the developer to maybe come to the next meeting or give us an update, give council an update as far as what's going on. I'm very disappointed in the lack of progress and lack of cooperation that we've gotten from them.
I mean, you know, I'm not gonna sit here to defend it, but they haven't, other than, I mean, I understand the inconvenience with the drilling. They're only slightly behind where they're supposed to be, and you have to understand, this is not just one contractor coming in to do the project. They have the piering that have to be, the excavation of the piering. The piering is now complete. The company that's coming in to do the garage, they were at the mercy of their schedule. They should be starting that really yesterday, and today is supposed to be gearing back up. They just finally issued a permit to build the garage from the county yesterday. So, I mean, while there's not progress going on down there, they're constantly, they're working. Just while you don't see anything going vertical, it doesn't mean that there's not a lot going on behind the scenes. Look, as far as the park goes, I'm just as frustrated with the park, but they've actually done everything that we've asked them to do. Every caveat that we put in the motions, they fulfilled, and they fulfilled it in the time that they were supposed to do it. So, I mean, I'm frustrated because I wish it was in sooner. And I'd be more than happy to, and I'm sure they would be more than happy to come to the next meeting and give an update. But they are progressing, and they're in our office once a week, you know, giving us updates, and it is progressing as we planned it would. I mean, they may be a little bit behind schedule. I'm sure they would tell you the same. But the garage, they have the permit for, just started yesterday. There's a separate group, a separate contractor that comes in and builds it from the garage. So there's multiple aspects in play, not to mention we've got to deal with the Corps every step of the way. So there's weekly phone calls with the Corps every Monday. And it's just,
this issue with the resident down there is just like compounding. That playground should have been done before they started drilling.
Right, I don't disagree.
That was my understanding when we approved it, that would be done in the fall before they even started construction.
I was very frustrated with the developer. I mean, I had to reach out several times because I was talking with Ken every day there for a while, and he was reaching out to the mayor. And then if I was Ken, I'd be doing the same thing. We had to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And finally, I was glad that they got in contact. Certainly not that the issue is not resolved, but it's farther along than it was 2 weeks ago.
I just wanted to express my disappointment. Sure. Thank you.
Anyone else have any business?
Two mentions, can I do that? Two mentions. Community garden's up and running. It's over in the corner of 3rd and Campbell. Everyone's welcome to come down and reap what you sow, or just hang out in the garden. Second of all is Campbell County is giving away free vegetables and fruit on May 16th from 10 to 2 on West 9th Street. So it's 437 West 9th Street. Free plants, come get them. Newport, Kentucky, part of the Campbell County. Yeah, don't go to whoever lives at 437 9th and Dayton. They probably great people, but they probably don't want you taking their fruit.
Anyone else have anything?
That's all I got to do.
Okay. We're going to executive session.
Yes, as for an executive session, discuss deliberations on future acquisition of or sale of real property by a public agency, but only when publicity would likely affect the value of the specific piece of property to be acquired for public use or sold by the public agency.
Need a motion?
Make a motion, we go into executive session.
Motion by Bill, second by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
We're in executive.
I would like to make the motion to complete the real estate offer as proposed by City Administrator Giffen. Do I need to enunciate what that offer is?
I would maybe recommend that allocate allows to go up to 65,000 per purchase. I don't know.
Can you give the address?
Okay, to allocate up to and not to exceed $65,000 for the city to purchase the property at 503 Berry Avenue.
Motion by Joe,
I'll second.
second by Jeff. Roll call vote.
Member Neary?
Yes, ma'am.
Member Baker?
No.
Member Haas?
Yes.
Member Lynn?
Aye.
Member Bolter?
Aye.
Member Burns?
Aye.
Ayes have it. I need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion by Joe, second by Jeff. All in favor?
Aye.
Wait, I got